So, you're probably at that point where you have actually tried lots of different natural alternative medicine for your ADHD or for your child's ADHD if you have a child with ADHD, and you've had some things maybe work or for the most part just haven't really worked, and you just think it's just a bunch of bogus, but you still want to believe that it might do something. So I'm going to talk to you about why it doesn't work for you and what you need to be understanding and what you need to do. So let's talk about that right after this intro. How you doing, my optimal minds? You're probably, like I said, you're at that point where you want to think that maybe natural medicine or alternative medicine can be helpful to ADHD, but it just doesn't seem like it. So you just use ADHD medications. Those have been working really well, and so you just stick with that, and you just have thrown out the door alternative medicine, but you still want to see if there's a possibility. So I'm going to talk about three things that a lot of people get wrong. And just to kind of introduce, if you guys don't know who I am, I'm Dr. LeGrand. I'm a naturopathic physician. And a naturopathic doctor, basically, we have additional training other than just in medical school. We have additional training in nutrition, alternative medicine, as well as other lifestyle changes that we implement as far as our treatment protocol. So we don't just use medications, even though that we do use that process, but a lot of times we try to use other things that could be really helpful as far as when it comes to things such as like ADHD, but other health concerns that people have. But before we get started, I do have a free downloadable guide that you can download if you do have ADHD or if you have a child with ADHD. I have two different ones that you can download. It basically goes over what labs I think that are really important to be able to implement if you have ADHD, as well as what nutrient supplements, as well as foods that you should be implementing on a regular basis. And you can download that in the description below. All right, so let's talk about three things as far as when it comes to why natural medicine or alternative medicine or holistic medicine, whatever you've tried, as far as why it hasn't been working for you and what you need to understand and what you need to be implementing. The very first thing, the very first problem is when people try natural medicine or alternative medicine, whatever, they don't use it as an individual case-by-case basis. What I mean by that is people will read online, they'll go to Google Doctor, and read online, natural ways to treat ADHD. And there's plenty of articles out there, not saying they're bad articles, but that is not individual. That's reading something online that may or may work for you, or you maybe are in a Facebook group and maybe some people suggest certain supplements, certain vitamins, and they might work, but they may not because it's not individual. The way to make it individualized is seeing if you need that type of nutrient supplement or that type of diet or that type of lifestyle change for your ADHD for you to see if there's an imbalance in your body to begin with. The only way to know that is you have to run some kind of testing or work with a health coach or work with some kind of doctor to be able to figure out what is actually out of balance, what are your individual needs versus just doing something that somebody else suggested online or a Facebook group or a friend. You can't do it that way. And that's where I see a lot of people who do that most of the time, is they will use somebody else's story, success story, and try to duplicate that for themselves. Or it might be just one person that had great success and maybe they're a health guru person and they're just going based off of their experience and sharing that without actually working with other people with ADHD and testing things and using more individualized care. It just doesn't work that way. And this is a big pet peeve of mine of why, people who want to say, oh, natural medicine doesn't work or alternative medicine doesn't work. It does if it's more individualized. It only works that way. Just like with any kind of medicine, you wouldn't go and just take, the same type of medication that your friend next door is taking. You just wouldn't. It may or may not work, but it could be dangerous doing it that way. You don't do that. You have to first run some testing or work with a doctor, trial and error, stuff like that to see what's working and what's not working. The second reason why alternative medicine or natural medicine isn't working for your ADHD is that you're not running specialized tests. What I mean by specialized tests? Well, specialized tests that run specific looking at your nutrient deficiencies in your body. I'm not talking about the standard tests that you go and see your doctor for. These are things that require additional investment on your end Most insurance companies will not cover these kind of things. So looking at your micronutrient deficiencies, see if you actually need magnesium, see if you need iron, see if you need all these different types of nutrients that people recommend online or in a blog article about ADHD and natural medicine. You got to first see if you are deficient or if your child is deficient in the first place. The other thing that's really, really fascinating to be able to do, and something I do a lot along with looking at the micronutrient deficiencies, is looking at imbalances in your neurotransmitters. So this is something you can measure through urine, and it's another specialized test that's an investment on your part, but you can see where there's deficiency in neurotransmitters. Now, why, you might be asking, why is neurotransmitters so important? Well, that's why you're taking the medication, if you are taking a medication, because there's something wrong with the dopamine or norepinephrine, which are the two common issues when it comes to ADHD, is there a problem with those types of neurotransmitters. But there's certainly lots of other neurotransmitters that could be unbalanced, or maybe those ones aren't. And when you can see and run a test to see for you a specific individualized care, remember, but run this specialized test to be able to see, okay, what type of neurotransmitters am I deficient in? Once you know that, then you know what actually nutrients to target to help improve those neurotransmitters, because we know which specific nutrients do help with certain types of neurotransmitters and different enzymes to help convert those types of neurotransmitters. So there's lots of things that you can implement, but you got to first see where are those imbalances in those neurotransmitters. Something that I do, something that get patients results, because we're looking at more specific individualized care by running these special types of tests. The third thing, and this is huge, is understanding that not one treatment is the same for everybody. And so you might be in a situation, I don't know, if you're a parent, you're trying to decide if you should give your kid medication or not, or if you want to try to go the natural way. Not one person with ADHD is the same. Some people need a combination of the medication and using supportive care of natural medicine. Some people do good with just the natural medicine. Some people, have to have a combo or just one or the other. I would always say there's always should be some kind of nutrition involved as far as when it comes to your ADHD care, using some kind of natural medicine along with the medication. But you could also, I've found successfully, myself included, be able to use natural medicine without the use of medication. But it really depends on the person, and that's what you need to understand. And I know there's a lot of backlash of people, who give flack about people who do take medication. Some people need that medication. A good amount of people need that medication, but doesn't mean you can't use natural medicine along with it. In fact, even just going back to the neurotransmitters, when you're taking that medication, there's definitely plenty of research that do deplete you of those neurotransmitters. And because of that, you even need more so nutrients along with the medications, so that you're not always having to, increase your doses of medications or switching your medication all the time, to have good, a good treatment plan along with your medications with nutrients. But certainly, if you're at that stage, whether you're an adult with ADHD or if you're a parent who has a kid with ADHD, and I know a lot of people feel bad of having to add the medications. And certainly, there's people with ADHD that can be fine with using nutrients. Not everybody, so you got to understand that. Not one treatment fits for all. So when I'm working with patients with ADHD, that's what we discuss. And that's what we try to figure out, okay, where are the imbalances? Let's implement those things, see if it's working. If you're at that point, you're trying to decide between which type of medication if you need to do medication or natural medicine, you can certainly try with natural medication, the natural medicine first of what I suggested. See if that makes some improvements, and if it's not, then maybe you need to add the medication. So it's really depends, and I hope this kind of answers some questions for people who think that natural medicine just doesn't work at all. It's because of those three things I mentioned. That you gotta understand that, for one, it needs to be individualized care. Two, you need to run some specialized tests to see if you have imbalances, if you actually need those types of nutrients or not. And then three, not one treatment fits for everybody. So if you need further guidance, go ahead and download my free guide. It basically goes over the nutrients and labs that you need to be implementing if you have ADHD, as well as what foods to implement, what foods to avoid. One for adults with ADHD, as well as parents who have kids with ADHD. So until next time, this is Dr. Legrand signing out. And remember, you have an optimal mind. Thanks. Bye.